While most of the places that people often live are sort of box-shaped and divided into sections to carry out all the basic human activities like sleeping, eating, and peeing, sometimes people have built those box-shaped dwellings in some especially bizarre spots around the world. We've curated a brief list of just a few of the stranger ones. From the coldest location on planet Earth to a micronation in the middle of the ocean, here are 15 most unusual places where people actually live. Number 15. The highest city on Earth. This is La Rinconada, and it's one of the harshest places you could possibly live. Located nearly 3 miles above sea level in the Peruvian Andes, it's the highest permanent human settlement on the planet. And at this elevation, the human body goes haywire. Altitude sickness usually starts at 4,900 feet. La Rinconada sits at 15,000. As the air gets thinner, oxygen levels plummet, making every breath feel like a chore. Some people adapt slowly, others never adjust at all. This elevation can cause serious conditions like pulmonary or cerebral edema. But that's not all. The city has no plumbing, sewage system, or police, and no real schools. Around 30,000 people live here in brutal conditions, lured by gold. The area is a giant minefield. Mercury is used for extraction, great for finding gold, terrible for humans. There are no laws, safety, or stability, but the gold's still there, so the people stay, hoping for luck before the altitude or poison gets them. Number 14. Katsky Pillar. Located in the isolated western Imereti region of Georgia, the Katsky Pillar is a bizarre sight to witness. It's a naturally formed limestone column that rises more than 130 feet above the earth below. And if that wasn't odd enough, there's a small church sitting right on top. This church is among the most secluded in the world. It's located 125 miles from Georgia's capital, and reaching it is no easy feat, which makes it fair to assume the congregation isn't the most booming. After a drive or bus ride, the final leg must be done on foot, a steep, exhausting 20-minute hike up a dangerous trail. The church, likely constructed between the 6th and 8th centuries, is dedicated to a 7th-century monk named Maximus the Confessor. Inside are hermit cells, a tomb, and a wine cellar. Monks still live below and climb it daily to pray. Only they are allowed up. Only men have ever reached the top. And yes, it's definitely boring up there. Number 13. Matmata. The Matmata troglodyte homes in southern Tunisia look like something from another planet. We mean, just look at them. These ancient underground dwellings are carved straight into the dry earth and linked by a maze of narrow passages and chambers. Sitting at the edge of the Sahara, just 20 miles south of Gabes, these sunken homes have been lived in for centuries by the indigenous Amazigh people. With little access to stone or wood, locals turned to the earth itself to build homes that could withstand the desert's brutal heat. By digging deep, they created natural insulation, cool in the summer, warm in the winter. Each home starts with a central pit or courtyard, often with a well, and branches out into side rooms used for sleeping, cooking, and storage. Some are now converted into guest houses, while others are still lived in. These dwellings aren't just historical. They're practical, beautiful, and fully alive. Matmata is awesome. Number 12. Danakil Depression. Well, this isn't about a sad donkey named Danakil, though the name might suggest that. No, this is actually a giant dent in the Earth's crust. The Danakil Depression was formed by the slow separation of the African and Arabian tectonic plates, which continue to pull apart at around 1 to 2 centimeters per year. The space left behind creates a sunken geological zone known as the Danakil, or Afar Depression, covering large parts of Ethiopia's Afar region. Much of its northern section sits below sea level and features landscapes that are straight-up otherworldly. It's also officially the hottest inhabited place on Earth. That means lava lakes, salt plains, active volcanoes, and boiling acid springs in neon colors. This place looks more like a rejected Star Trek set than real Earth. The entire area is hostile, brutal, and mind-bendingly strange. And yet, people actually live there, because human beings, as usual, just don't know when to quit. Number 11. Coober Pedy. There's a lot of wild stuff in the Australian outback, deadly animals, heat waves, and endless miles of nothing. But smack in the middle of all that, there's a town where people literally live underground. Coober Pedy is an opal mining town located about an 8-hour drive from either Adelaide or Alice Springs. It's off the grid and nearly invisible from above because most residents live in dugouts, cave-like homes carved straight into the rock. These dwellings protect them from the scorching summers and freezing winters that hit this desert hard. There's no soft middle ground here. It's either boiling or freezing. These homes, though hidden beneath the surface, are filled with daily life and personality. People here have adapted out of pure necessity. It's not just about survival. It's about inventing a whole new way of living in one of Earth's harshest places. And yes, they're still blasting opal out of the rock when the law isn't watching too closely. Number 10. The deserted capital of Myanmar. Naypyidaw is officially the capital of Myanmar. It's the country's third largest city, yet barely anyone seems to live there. So few, in fact, that many call it a ghost city. It was a completely planned metropolis, created to replace the former capital of Yangon. It officially gained capital status in November 2005. The place is absolutely massive, far bigger than necessary for a nation this size. It's 4 times larger than London, but severely underpopulated. The government claims it's home to 1 million people, but images suggest otherwise. Gigantic 20-lane highways sit almost empty. People walk freely down the middle of these wide roads without ever worrying about traffic, because there isn't any. The city has all the modern staples you'd expect in a capital: shopping malls, hotels, museums, and parks. But it's so underused that it feels like the ruins of some post-disaster world. It's oddly quiet, strangely clean, and totally surreal. Number 9. Masdar City. The UAE isn't exactly known for cutting back on power use. It's one of the most air-conditioned nations on Earth, and it even built an indoor ski resort right in the desert, burning through insane energy just to keep fake snow from melting. But today's focus is on a different kind of project: Masdar City in Abu Dhabi. This place was designed to be environmentally conscious. The catch? Constructing a whole new city from scratch isn't really the greenest thing to do. They claimed it would be the world's first zero-carbon city, if they'd finished it. What they ended up with is more like a zero-carbon ghost town. The original plan included self-driving electric cars, solar grids, and a giant wind tunnel to cool the place naturally, but most of it fell flat. Eventually, the government admitted it couldn't reach that zero-emission target, so it backed off and let it sit. A half-built eco-utopia that now quietly fades into the background. Great for brochures, not so much for reality. Number 8. San Pedro Prison. San Pedro Prison in La Paz, Bolivia, is the country's largest, but it doesn't operate like others. What makes it different is that it functions as a full society. Inmates essentially run it themselves, and not in some cozy Scandinavian open prison way either. They make the rules here. The prisoners have jobs, they rent or buy their own cells, and many live alongside their families. Inside, they also earn real income, often by selling drugs to tourists. There's even an elected leadership system within the prison that handles law enforcement. Their main method of enforcement? Stabbing. That's right. Break the rules here, and you're likely to get stabbed. The prison holds about 3,000 inmates, but also countless women and children who live with convicted partners. At any time, there may also be outsiders staying in the prison hotel tourists even come to visit as part of Bolivia's weird travel trail. Strange, but somehow still functioning. Number 7. Manshiat Naser. In eastern Cairo, Egypt, there's a suburb called Manshiat Naser, sometimes referred to as the Christian district. But one part of it draws more attention, an area widely known as Garbage City. As the name suggests, this is where the city's trash ends up. Cairo produces an overwhelming amount of garbage, and the people living here have built their economy around it. The Zabaleen, meaning garbage collectors, sort, process, and recycle waste from the entire city. Each family specializes in specific materials, and the area sees more than 14,000 tons of waste pass through daily. There are homes, shops, and workshops scattered throughout the settlement, but there's no running water, sewage system, or formal power supply. Everything runs off necessity and makeshift solutions. Though conditions are incredibly rough, the residents continue to make a living off Cairo's refuse. It's a functioning, trash-based microeconomy built by people who've turned survival into a system. Resourceful doesn't even begin to describe it. Number 6. Treehouse Tribes. In a secluded region of Papua, Indonesia, the Korowai people build towering homes suspended 8 to 15 meters above ground. Perched on stilts or high in tree canopies, these dwellings are designed with purpose. Locals believe that evil spirits dwell on the ground, so living high keeps families spiritually safe. It also shields them from wild animals, insects, and unwanted outsiders. The Korowai follow ancestral customs, including reincarnation and deep spiritual respect. Some elders are believed to possess mystical powers, like sensing danger or detecting dark forces. This may be where old rumors of witchcraft and even cannibalism originated. While the past may have included some brutal conflicts, today's Korowai rely more on peaceful exchanges. Disagreements now get solved with gift-giving rather than violence. Their tree houses are more than just shelters. They're cultural strongholds. These homes stand tall against time, weather, and outside perception. From a distance, it might look like fantasy, but for them, it's home. Number 5. The Villages. The Villages in Florida is a place like no other. It's home to over 150,000 people, almost all of them over the age of 55. Nobody under 19 is allowed to live there. It's a golf cart-powered retirement wonderland, and while it looks like a model town, it's also the center of some eyebrow-raising stories. This isn't just about quiet games of shuffleboard or early dinners. The Villages has gained a reputation for something else entirely: skyrocketing rates of STIs and an unusually open attitude towards swinging. Gossip spreads fast, but here it might be rooted in more than rumor. Residents retire into a community of endless golf courses, live music, and organized events. But what happens behind those closed doors? That's another matter. It's orderly, colorful, and packed with senior citizens living their second youth, sometimes with less caution than expected. While outsiders joke about capris and fanny packs, the Villages proves older generations aren't always as quiet or reserved as people assume. All right, now, let's move to Number 4. Jaisalmer Fort. Rajasthan is known for its historic forts, many now turned into tourist attractions. But Jaisalmer Fort stands apart because people live there. Constructed in 1156, this ancient sandstone fortress rises 250 feet above the city and is wrapped in walls punctuated by 99 bastions, most added between 1633 and 1647. Inside, you'll find not just monuments but functioning homes, shops, hotels, and even temples. Roughly a quarter of Jaisalmer's population still resides within its walls. Families cook dinner, kids play cricket in the narrow lanes, and daily life unfolds alongside camera-toting tourists. Inside the royal palace, Jain temples, and bustling alleys paint a picture of a living fort, half museum, half neighborhood. While many visitors marvel at the architecture, residents go about their routines, often surrounded by flashing lenses and tourist chatter. Number 3. Caleta Tortel. Hidden away in southern Chilean Patagonia, Caleta Tortel is a tiny town unlike any other. With only about 320 residents, this place remained cut off from the rest of the country until just over a decade ago. For years, it had no roads in or out, meaning nobody had cars because, well, there was nowhere to drive. And even now, there are still no roads inside the town itself. All the homes cling to the hillside and are connected by long wooden boardwalks. There are no cars, no buses, not even space for them. There's also no hotel, bar, or real infrastructure for visitors, because for the longest time, nobody ever visited. And when no one comes, no one needs to build a place for them to stay. The town was so isolated that for generations, people simply stayed put. Caleta Tortel is quiet, haunting, and totally unique. A place where daily life unfolds entirely on foot, across damp wooden planks, between the sea and the forested cliffs. Number 2. Slab City. Slab City, in California's Imperial County, calls itself the last free place in America. Set 50 miles north of the Mexican border, it used to be Camp Dunlap, a U.S. Navy training base. After World War II, the military abandoned it, leaving behind large concrete slabs. That's when people started moving in, building homes from leftover materials, trailers, and scrap. It's completely off-grid. Electricity comes from solar panels or generators. Water is stored and distributed from a church. There's no rent, no taxes, and supposedly no rules. But the sheriff and fire department from nearby Nyland are still close enough to keep things from falling apart completely. Residents range from off-grid enthusiasts to artists, drifters, and survivalists. In winter, the population can spike to 4,000. In summer, it drops to just a handful. Slab City isn't a lawless fantasy, it's an iconic. Number 1. Tonle Sap. In Cambodia's Siem Reap province lies Tonle Sap, the largest freshwater lake in Southeast Asia, and while it's packed with fish, it's also home to a massive population of people. But not around the lake, on it. Over 1 million people live in floating homes right on the water. Why? Because this lake is one of the world's richest fishing grounds, with more than 200 species of fish. Life revolves entirely around the water. These floating villages, like Chongkanias, home to around 1,000 families, are self-contained communities, with homes, schools, and businesses floating side by side. The downside? The locals are often exploited by tourism companies. Tourists arrive by boat, snap photos, and leave, giving little or nothing back to the people whose lives they profit from. These visits rarely support the locals and often ignore the impact they're having. Still, life goes on. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, share it, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.